Most people think 380 ACP is underpowered, outdated, and barely adequate for self-defense. But not all 380 ammo is created equal. What if we told you there are 7 380 rounds on the market today that not only hold their own against 9mm, but in some cases, stop threats faster? In this video, we'll talk about 7 overlooked 380 ACP loads that flip the script on everything you thought you knew about this caliber. We're not just talking about brand names slapped on repackaged FMJs. These are high-tech, barrier-blind, fluid-displacing rounds with real-world ballistic gel results that rival or exceed the FBI standards. From Underwood's viciously fluted Xtreme Defender to the pressure wave slicing power of G9's external hollow point, we'll break down what makes each of these rounds lethal, reliable, and worth every penny. Whether you're running a Ruger LCP Max, a Glock 42, or Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 2.0, these options will turn your pocket pistol into a serious man-stopper. And no, we're not exaggerating. Some of these rounds outperform budget 9mm hollow points in both penetration and tissue disruption. You'll get the specs, the real velocities, the MSRP, and why these are the carry loads smart shooters are switching to. Without further ado, Underwood took the radical Lehigh Defense Extreme Defense bullet and pushed it to plus P territory. This 68-grain solid copper projectile, featuring flutes that shove soft tissue outward, offers deep, steady penetration without depending on expansion. It's an answer for anyone who wants a 380 that feels more like a legitimate stopper than a backup option. Advertised at 1,400 feet per second, it cranks out nearly 296 foot-pounds of energy. From short-barreled pistols like the Ruger LCP Max, shooters still clock around 1,250 to 1,300 feet per second, which is no small feat in a microframe. Tests in ballistic gel, even through layers of denim, reach about 15 inches of penetration, far more than typical 380 hollow points that often fail to open or clog in heavy fabrics. Reliability gets a boost, too. Its rounded ogive helps it feed in pistols that normally balk at hollow points. Nickel-plated brass and a lead-free bullet also make it a go-to for indoor ranges and long-term storage. Of course, it's no bargain bin practice ammo. A box of 20 runs about $24.23 or $1.21 per round. Some dismiss 380 as too anemic for real defensive use, but this round's fluted design punches above its weight, creating a substantial wound cavity and consistent penetration. The plus P pressure rating gives it the velocity bump smaller guns need. Whether it's a Glock 42, a SIG P238, or whatever backup handgun you can think of, this load delivers penetration that meets FBI standards, even from a pocket-sized platform. It's for those who think mouse guns can still hit hard. Norma's NXD 380 is no ordinary pocket pistol option. It uses a 56-grain copper polymer bullet shaped with 3 flutes that disrupt soft tissue through fluid dynamics. Rather than counting on expansion, these flutes hurl tissue outward, creating a wide wound channel early in the penetration track. Velocity sits around 1,283 feet per second, translating into roughly 205 foot-pounds of energy. Standard 380 loads usually lag behind at 850 feet per second with heavier bullets, so this lighter projectile flies faster, hits with plenty of force, and keeps recoil tame. Real-world gel tests through denim show it averages about 12 inches of penetration, right at the FBI's recommended minimum, but with a much larger radial disruption than most FMJs. Feeding reliability is solid. It's profiled like an FMJ, so it chambers smoothly in pistols known to be finicky. That includes popular 380 carry guns, such as the Ruger LCP Max, Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 2.0, etc. A box of 20 usually goes for around $17.89, though sales sometimes drop that to $10 per box. This is an excellent choice for short barrels, where hollow points can stumble and fail to expand. It uses the same principle as more expensive fluid transfer bullets, but does so at a surprisingly approachable cost, typically between 50 and 90 cents per round. Anyone looking to make the 380 more viable without jumping to a heavier, slower bullet should give Norma's NXD a serious look. Underwood's 90-grain Xtreme penetrator load is another creation stemming from Lehigh Defense's advanced bullet profiles. Many viewed 380 as bare minimum, yet this round redefined what's possible in a small caliber. It uses a sharply fluted copper bullet designed to slice through bone, barriers, and thick clothing without the inconsistencies of traditional hollow points. Rated at 1,200 feet per second, it carries around 288 foot-pounds of energy, surpassing the usual 850 feet per second of standard 380 rounds. Even in real-world tests from pistols like the Glock 42, muzzle velocity hovers near 1,150 feet per second. Those flutes displace soft tissue in a way that leaves an impressive wound track, matching the penetration standards that serious self-defense ammo needs to meet. The geometry prevents clogging or deformation, so performance remains the same against denim, drywall, or bare gel. Tests regularly show 12 to 18 inches of penetration, depending on conditions. Small-frame 380 pistols feed it smoothly because it behaves more like an FMJ in shape, which is crucial for guns with limited feed ramp real estate. Underwood labels this as +P, so it's wise to check your pistol's specs before using it. While many modern pocket pistols handle it just fine, certain older models or bargain brands might not. This load costs about $37.99 for 20, putting it near $2 per round. It isn't for casual plinking. It's meant for daily carry, where reliability and penetration matter most. For anyone who wants a 380 that refuses to act like a mouse gun, this is worth every penny. When the Inceptor ARX first showed up, it caught everyone's eye with its unusual fluted projectile, injection molded from a copper polymer blend. There's no hollow cavity or exposed lead, just a lightweight bullet that moves fast and disrupts tissue through radial fluid dynamics. In 380 ACP, it weighs 56 grains and zips out at roughly 1,260 feet per second. That equates to about 197 foot-pounds of energy, outpacing many traditional 380 rounds that barely hit 850 feet per second. The fluted design pushes tissue outward at impact, creating a strong pressure wave that shreds soft targets from the inside. Hollow points can clog or fail to expand, but the ARX remains consistent. Users report that in ballistic gel, it frequently penetrates at least 12 inches from short barrels like the Ruger LCP and sometimes even tumbles for extra disruption. Recoil is notably softer because of the lighter bullet weight. That's a big plus in a micro-compact gun with minimal real estate for your hands. In terms of price, it usually sells around $20.49 for 25 rounds, cheaper than many premium defensive loads. This isn't old-school marketing gimmickry. The ARX's fluted nose genuinely performs. Carbine use is rare in 380, so it's best viewed as a concealed carry round with modern engineering. Anyone looking for something beyond typical jacketed hollow points should give ARX a try. G9 Defense took a different route with its external hollow point, or EHP, and that approach gave 380 ACP a new dimension. Rather than expanding like a conventional hollow point, the EHP's machined copper bullet has flutes on the exterior that violently move tissue aside the moment it connects. Weighing 70 grains and moving at about 1,120 feet per second, it hits with around 195 foot-pounds of energy. Some might not call that groundbreaking, but gel tests and real-world trials confirm it transfers energy in a flash, generating a wide disruption zone without needing to expand. It also deals with barriers effectively, staying intact instead of peeling apart like a jacketed design. Compatibility is solid across common 380 pistols. The projectile's shape mimics an FMJ profile, so feeding issues rarely arise. Owners of 380 pistols appreciate any round that doesn't cause jams in guns with limited slide mass. It's not meant for carbines, which barely exist in this caliber, but it excels in the up-close ranges a small carry piece demands. That level of performance doesn't come cheap. A 20-round box typically runs $37.99 to $42.99, bringing it to nearly $2 per shot. Cost aside, it's reassuring in scenarios where a 380 might be all you have. Reliability, consistent penetration, and immediate tissue disruption define the G9 EHP as a solid friend for those who carry small pistols for personal defense. NavX stepped away from old-school ammo designs when it created its Engagement Xtreme line. The 380 edition features a fluted polymer copper bullet paired with a two-piece stainless steel and aluminum case, pushing innovation that few others tried. The result is a 56-grain slug booking it at 1,300 feet per second, or 1,400 feet per second in a +P variant. Standard muzzle energy is around 210 foot-pounds, with the +P reaching 244 foot-pounds, phenomenal figures for a 380. These flutes channel fluid outward, so the bullet transfers energy quickly and carves a large cavity. It's also lead-free and designed to be frangible enough to limit overpenetration if it hits bone or a rigid surface. Using a hybrid case design keeps the ammo strong, lightweight, and resistant to corrosion. It's also magnetic, making cleanup simpler, though that's more of a range convenience. The lighter bullet and slick case minimize malfunctions, while recoil remains modest. That's a helpful combination in a Micro 380. Prices sit at around $24.99 for standard pressure and $26.99 for plus P. That's $1.25 or more per round, so it isn't for casual range use. Some folks think 380 can't measure up to 9mm ballistics, but Noviax managed to close that gap quite a bit. It's intended for short-barreled carry pistols where speed and reliable feeding matter. This round gave 380 a modern twist, proving that if you're picky about your ammo, the little pocket rocket can hold its own. Black Hills Honey Badger leaves many previous notions about 380 ACP behind. Lehigh Defense's advanced fluted bullet design gave it teeth, but Black Hills boosted performance further, ensuring it hits FBI penetration guidelines. The 380 version sends a 60-grain solid copper slug at about 1150 feet per second from a 3.25-inch barrel. That translates to around 176 foot-pounds of energy, modest on paper until the flutes start channeling fluid on impact. These radial cuts produce a pressure wave that tears through soft tissue. There's no cavity to clog and no risk of jacket separation. Many shooters see 12 to 14 inches of penetration in gel, with a permanent wound cavity wide enough to surprise skeptics of this caliber. It maintains reliability in common Micro 380 pistols. Reports show minimal feeding or fouling problems, partly because of the bullet's smooth shape and short-bearing surface. At about $29.90 for a 20-round box, it's not cheap. On the other hand, those who carry a 380 usually want an edge, and Honey Badger offers plenty of that. It's less punishing than 9mm on recoil, and the carefully shaped flutes add an extra measure of tissue damage without depending on expansion. Users who thought the 380 was borderline for self-defense may rethink that assumption after looking into what Honey Badger brings to the table. And those are the 7 overlooked 380 ACP loads that have more stopping power than your average everyday 9mm ball round. Each was engineered to push this caliber to new limits, proving 380 can deliver meaningful defensive performance when the right bullet geometry and velocity come together. Some folks prefer 9mm for obvious reasons, yet there are times when deep concealment makes a smaller frame the only choice. When that happens, these options ensure the 380 doesn't feel like a compromise. Prices range from about 50 cents per round up to nearly $2, reflecting differences in design, materials, and performance goals. Feeding quirks, expansion failures, and limited penetration are long-standing complaints about 380. All the loads we've just looked at address those problems head-on by using fluted monolithic bullets that either mold fluid or transfer energy without the pitfalls of traditional hollow points. If you carry a 380, there's no reason to settle for weak ball ammo or iffy expansion. These loads prove that pocket pistols can pack a punch. So, which round would you trust in your carry gun? Or, better yet, tell us if there were other 380 loads that you believe should have made the list. Sound off in the comments, we'd love to know. And while you're down there, please hit like, share this with your fellow carriers, and subscribe with the bell so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching.